Pepper says, are you ready to start decluttering? I know I am. It is that time of the week again. It is time to declutter another section in this messy kid's bedroom. Now, this is Tyler's decluttering videos. I let him take the lead on what he is decluttering and cleaning up. And of course, last week he did an amazing job getting this front section neat and clean. And for today's episode, we're going to be focusing on this back corner right here. This is a hot mess. There is a bunch of different things all over the place. And I want him to be able to reach his organizer so that he can put everything back where it belongs. And we're also decluttering and cleaning the kids' rooms a little differently than everybody else because I'm letting my boys take the lead so that I can see how they clean up. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm not telling them what the next step is. I'm kind of showing them what area we're working in, but they're doing the rest. And the main reason why I'm doing that is because honestly, I want to check for myself if there's any hoarder tendencies in them or if they're developing, because by this age, I already showed signs of hoarding. And especially as a little girl, I very rarely cleaned my room up for two reasons. The one reason is because, again, I loved the mess. I would play for hours in my room. I would draw. I loved things everywhere. I was a creative type. I was an artsy type. And my mom just chalked it up as that's her quirky personality. And reason number two is because also when I was a little girl, I never cleaned up my room on a weekly basis. And this is absolutely positively no disrespect to my parents, and I want to make that very clear. My mom never pushed me doing weekly chores because as a little girl, she was never pushed to do weekly chores. But she doesn't have hoarding disorder and she doesn't have ADHD. And she had no idea that her daughter did. Back then, they didn't pick up on those type of behaviors until later in life, where now I feel like we're more educated where we can pick up these signs earlier. So since she was just so unaware that I had this and I was developing these behaviors, she thought I was going to be the same as her. When I got older, I'm not going to want the messy rooms. I'm going to want my stuff neat and tidy. It's just her age. She'll grow out of it. And I would have the natural skills to clean and organize. But as you've seen in my house before, I obviously am not naturally organized and clean. No, I can actually be organized on a smaller scale, of course. And for my whole life, I thought I could have a mass amount of stuff and still organize it somehow. And thanks to all of you, I learned that you have to declutter. You have to downsize. And then it makes organizing just so much easier. And of course, everything that I'm learning, I want to share with my children. And that's why it's so important for me to see if my children have any hoarding behaviors or tendencies, or are they really struggling with categorizing and organizing or making a decision on what to let go of and what to keep. Because somebody who has hoarding disorder has to clean and declutter a completely different way than somebody that does not. And to clarify that even a little deeper, somebody who doesn't have hoarding disorder can logically make decisions on whether they need it, they can use it, or let it go. Somebody with hoarding disorder has to make that decision emotionally on many items. Do I feel strong enough to let this go? Am I not emotionally attached to this item to where I can let this go, feel calm, and feel confident that I made the right decision? That's where I'm at. That's how I have to declutter. Now, because I've been doing this a few years, I'm noticing that I can logically make quicker decisions, but I'm still making a lot of decisions emotionally as well, because I started hoarding behaviors around my kids' age. And they just developed into a habit until it's part of my subconscious and my programming, and hoarding was what I knew. It was what brought me comfort. It was what brought me security. The hoard always saved me from the stresses of life. It was my coping mechanism. And that was one of my biggest fears because my children were now being raised in a hoarded home. I was not. My house was nice and neat and tidy. But now my children have only known messes and clutter and a mass amount of stuff in their house. And that broke my heart. And that's why I'm trying to break this now. Now, with each of my children, they had shown a behavior or a sign of hoarding. And I don't know if it's because that's naturally ingrained in them or it's because it's what they were raised knowing. For example, I had noticed that when they were younger, one of my children wanted to keep the toy, the packaging, and everything that came with it, the little marketing pamphlets to collect them all. They wanted to keep everything. That's something that I did because I did not recognize the plastic, the box, the little marketing collect them all thing as trash. I identified the whole thing as the happiness, where the other child knew right away, get rid of this other crap. I just want the toy, man. Now, many of you are probably thinking, well, that's not really a big deal. But when hoarding disorder runs through the old family gene pool, we do have to catch it before it develops into full-blown hoarding. Another sign I had seen from one of the children was that when I sold or gave away one of their toddler items, the one child had said, "No, don't give that away. You're giving away all my childhood memories." Wow, can I resonate with that? That is probably one of the biggest strongholds that I have, is because I attach so much emotion to the item and I'm forgetful, right? So keeping the items ignites those memories. It feels like I'm back alive in that time frame again, remembering all those beautiful, happy, joyful memories. And what happens when I am in a state of pure happiness? My anxiety doesn't exist. Depression doesn't exist. It is my coping mechanisms for when I am stressed out. And as much as I would love to alleviate all stress from my children's lives, I know that I can't fully prevent that, right? All of our children are going to go down their own path and go through their trials and tribulations too. What I can do, though, is be a supportive mama and be there for them now, all the time, and help them develop healthy coping mechanisms for when they are stressed out, like sharing their emotions with me and talking out those frustrations. Like in school, when there's a kid that's being not so very nice to them and they take it personally or get very upset about it, I make sure that they're talking to me about it, expressing those emotions, knowing that it's okay, knowing that they're always loved and supported at home, and that we can process these emotions in a healthy way. I mean, shoot, I wouldn't be opposed to if they become stress cleaners. No, I'm kidding. But I do love the fact that they are finding peace and tranquility and calmness in neat and organized rooms. That does make me feel a lot better about that. And I have to wonder that if any of these strategies were put in to my life as a child, would it have prevented me from becoming a stage 4 hoarder at my highest peak? But the truth is that it just wasn't my path, right? My path was to experience the extreme so that I could bring it to light on YouTube and share the true mentality behind hoarding disorder in hopes to helping millions of people heal from hoarding, heal their relationships, bring understanding and compassion to the disorder, and hopefully give inspiration and encouragement along their journey too, as they learn how to declutter, as they learn how to clean, as they learn how to organize, and to also create a safe space for people to be vulnerable and honest about their hoarding disorder too. and also just lifting everybody up. Even if you don't have hoarding disorder, it still encourages you to clean and declutter. It still inspires you to maybe start a project with your kids and making cleaning up their room as fun as it can too. Because this is Tyler's tossy pile. Wow, I am so proud of him. And he wanted to do this. He was excited to make his own video series. And he made the decisions on what he was letting go of and what he was keeping. I empowered him to make choices on his things. So do I think he's a hoarder? Nah, I don't see it. He wants to give away Pokemon cards. I mean, that is a tall tale sign that he's not developing these hoarding behaviors. And I'm just so relieved, because you always want your children to have a better life than you did. You don't want them to have the same struggles. And of course, we're going to recycle and give away as much stuff as we can so that we're keeping things out of a landfill. And now Miss Pepper is giving her final inspections and approvals on how thoroughly the room was cleaned and decluttered. And I'm happy to say that she does approve. And we are so proud of how well Tyler cleaned out this back corner. It looks 1,000 times better. He can walk over to it, put his toys away when he's done with them, or take new projects out. He can easily access it. And I just love how it looks when it's all clean. And I love seeing his face and how proud he is when it's all done. And I hope and pray that this video gave you encouragement and inspiration to declutter and clean something in your home today too.